Hello and welcome to this second lecture on leadership styles in this course on excellence in leadership. So in this module, we've been trying to help you understand the different leadership styles, and we talked about in the last lecture four very generally known used leadership styles of autocratic, democratic, bureaucratic, and charismatic. We will look at more leadership styles in this lecture. We'll start with looking at six Goldman leadership styles. Then there's another way to look at laissez faire to transformational leader styles. And finally, a situational leadership style. Right. So, what are the different types of leadership, other types of leadership styles that you know of? I kind of gave it away to you. So, can you recall this now? Right. So, there is this six Daniel Goleman leadership styles as defined by him. And these are the basic six types of leadership I proposed by him. Now, some of the words might have changed over a period of time. So there is a coercive leadership, a commanding leadership, there's authoritative leadership, affiliative, democratic that we saw earlier, pace-settive, and coaching. So there is a shades of what we saw earlier coming into this, but these are the six ways Goldman defines the leadership styles. Now, what are these various leadership styles do? How do these operate? What is the emotional competencies needed? Because he's an emotional competence guy. And when do these styles work best is more important, and how is the impact on the climate, overall impact? So let's look at each of these and understand this. See, the commanding style, the leadership's modus operandi is that he or she demands immediate compliance. Whatever I say, I need you to do it quickly and immediately and in good quality. And the style is in a phase, do what I tell you is the right thing to, that's what the right thing to do. And the underlying emotional competence is that there's a drive to achieve on the part of the leader, initiative, and self control. Now, when does this style work best, as we saw earlier? In a crisis, to kickstart a turnaround, or with a problem with the employee, or any situation where there is a crisis. There is an overall negative impact on the climate of the team at this point of time because you're not allowing people to think and contribute the way they would like to do. So, overall, this still has a negative impact on the climate of the team. The second is a visionary, and we saw that as charismatic leadership style earlier. And this basically leader mobilizes people towards a vision through his charisma, his or her charisma. And he basically his, slogan is "Come with me." So there is self-confidence here on the part of leader, empathy, and he or she is a change catalyst. When does this style work best is when you require a new vision when a clear direction is needed, when the team needs, and this has most strongly positive response from the team, impact on the team, because it mobilizes people towards a vision. They are with you and they march towards in a direction that they buy with. The third leadership that he explains is the affiliative leadership style, which basically creates harmony and builds emotional bonds within the team members. And there the belief is people come first, and it works through emotional competencies like empathy, building relationship, and communication. And it's basically useful when the team has a rift and you need to heal that rift or motivate people during stressful circumstances. And this too has positive impact. Democratic way we saw earlier, it's through forges consensus through participation. It says basically do what you think with a certain restrictions. And underlying competencies of the leader are collaboration, team leadership, and communication. And it works best when you build buy-in and consensus to get input from every valuable employee. So when you need input from everyone to create and get maximum benefit from them, is that what you use this. And definitely this has a positive impact. The pace setting, as he defines, is when you set high standards of performance. And this basically says that you set the pace and you ask others to follow and say, do as I do now. So there's an urgency and there is instruction to follow. And the emotional competencies that drive this is conscientious, conscientious drive to achieve an initiative. and it is useful when you want to get quick results from the highly motivated and competent team. Now, the pace setting can have a negative impact because you are instructing people to do and under pressure. So this does have negative impact on morale of the team. The last one is the coaching kind of style in which you basically let them try and let them figure out. So try this is the kind of advice there. And it basically, you believe in developing others, empathy and self-awareness. And it's basically to help the employees improve performance or competencies over a long period of time. So this is a very long-term kind of a strategy. And this has a positive impact as well. So these are the Daniel Goleman's style of leadership as illustrated here. Are there other styles of leadership? Yes, there are many. I mean, there are so many models of leadership. So let me share with you one more model. And that goes in a spectrum from laissez faire to transformational on some very familiar routes like autocratic and participative. So laissez faire is where a leader lacks direct supervision of the employee and fails to provide regular feedback to the team. Uh, and this works when you have highly experienced and trained employees requiring little supervision. And under those conditions, this leadership style can work quite well. Autocratic, as we saw, is where leadership and managers to make a decision alone without the input of others. So the leader acts on their own, and he says, "Do as I follow." And now, leaders possess total authority and impose their will on the employees. So this again has a authoritative style there. Participate is more like democratic, which basically again you allow to value the inputs of the team members and peers, but the responsibility of making the final decision lies with the leader, and that's where it is different from laissez-faire. Laissez-faire is like you do whatever you want kind of a thing. Transactional style, managers using this leadership style receive certain tasks to perform and provide rewards and punishments to the team member based on the performance results. Employees receive rewards such as bonuses when they accomplish their goals. So it is linked to achieving the task. So very task-oriented approach. Transformational leadership style depends on high level of communication from management to meet the goals. It is more like visionary kind of a thing that we saw. The charismatic leadership style. Leadership focus on big picture within the organization and delegate a smaller task to team to learn and accomplish the goals. So you see, while the words are very different, there is a lot of commonality in these descriptions of different leadership style. Another model is this wise compassion leadership model on the basis of ignorance to wisdom and indifference to compassion. So if there's a leader that is ignorant and indifferent, it's called ineffective indifference model, lacking interest and concern for others, actually not a leader at all. Then there are leaders who are caring leaders who have their compassion, but they don't. They are ignorant and they don't make sure that knowledge is used. So they use empathy, letting empathy to be a barrier to action. The uncaring execution is more like a slave driver where you know what stuff to do. It is the autocratic style. So you put results before people's well-being. So that's how that is. And the wise compassion is an ideal way to do the leadership where you get tough things get done in a human way by using your compassion as well as wisdom. So that's the wise compassion leadership model. So the question that came to my mind, and so must be coming to you, so there is no one such model as leadership that one can use at all the times with all the people, isn't it? So if there is a fire burning in the model, would you go and do a visionary model? Or when you need to set a completely new division, would you use an autocratic style? So obviously it depends on the situation and the people in terms of time and people. So isn't leadership situational is my question to you. So there is this thought of situational leader, which I quite subscribe to, and that makes a lot of good sense to me, is using a leadership style according to the maturity level of subordinates, the timing, the situation, and the place. Not only subordinates, as it says, but you need to see the situation, define the situation from all 6 sides, like you would define an elephant looking at all the six sides. So you go across, see the situation, define it, and from people, processes, timing, location, and then based on the various things, then you say what is the most reasonable and useful thing and productive style to use in this. Now this does require a lot of flexibility and wisdom and uh, let's say width of skills with a leader, but that's what a good situational leadership is. So what determines the situational leaders? Let's dig a little bit deeper into that. So it's the specifics of a task. What is the work that you need to accomplish? If you need to scale Mount Everest versus you need to produce repetitively the same product, they're two different things altogether. The relationship between the group members, how good is the chemistry between the people and the leader itself? The maturity level of the people, more the mature, if you are to lead the leaders, then you need a very different situational leader would be of different kind. And the leader's authority level. If you are a leader without much authority, you would need to use a different kind of leadership style. So these situational factors would help you determine the leadership styles. So there is this another model on even on situational leadership, Hershey-Blanchard model, which is basically on how much direction you need to give to your team and how much supportive behavior you need to do. So at the bottom left hand is the where you can completely delegate. You can use a delegating style of leadership in which you don't need to give direction and you need minimal support. And this is typically with the people with a highly competent and highly committed and this is what is called self-reliant achieving team, self-managed team, self-performing team. And this would happen if you are leading a set of leaders themselves. Others, you might, if you follow other styles, you might be kind of crowding on you or you may be micromanaging. So there you need to delegate it down and provide the minimal support and direction that is needed. The second thing could be you need least amount of direction but a lot of support that you need. Now that's called capable but cautious performing team in which you have high competence and you need variable commitment. There is a variable commitment level. So you need support to be given to the team, whereas the direction is not that important, right? The third kind of a style, which is the phase of when you have high supporting behavior required and direction behavior required. And this is what he terms as disillusioned learner. Some competence and low commitment. So these are the people that the leader really needs to work hard with. People who need high support, who high direction. And then finally, there is a directing leadership style in which you work with enthusiastic beginner, people who are new, who need more direction and least support at this point of time. So they have low competence, you need to be trained, supported, but they have high commitment and they need least direction. So using this model, a leader can, if he has multiple sets of people or multiple teams of that to handle, he can decide what is the most appropriate leadership styles, even in situational leader. So having looked at what are the different styles of leadership, including situational leader, what do we do next? We come to our core question of what is excellence in leadership? Is situational leader excellence? Is autocratic excellence? Is visionary excellence? So what is this excellence in leadership that we have been talking about is what we will define in the next lecture. Thank you so much for watching this second lecture on leadership styles. I hope you have learned a lot of new things again. You have enjoyed, and I do look forward to see you again in the next lecture.